We were sitting on the beach as a family, another beautiful day on our vacation in Jamaica, when my dad noticed a small catamaran sailboat out on the water in front of us, and immediately began to reminisce on his childhood vacations, claiming to have been a master at captaining the tiny vessel. My brother and I immediately called bullshit, and after a little trash talk, we end up going with my dad to go rent out a boat for an hour so that he could try and prove to us that he actually knew what he was doing. The initial cast off was slow going and extremely bumpy, but my dad maintained that this was simply rust. As we continued our attempt at sailing, things were not getting much better. After lots of laughing from my brother and I, and a bunch of cursing and F-bombs from my dad, we finally started to pick up a little steam. Unfortunately, it would not last. The sun left us, and instead, we were left with a steady diet of rain and wind. With the poor weather overhead, the three of us agreed it was time to end this joyride and head back into shore. The only problem with heading back into shore was there was no way we were going to get there. With the wind swirling, the sail came crashing down on our little boat. With the sail down, panic ensued on the boat. My dad started screaming at the boat, my brother started screaming at my dad, and I unsuccessfully tried to keep the sail up, but it was way too heavy. From a distance, the men on the shore that were working there at the rental shop saw us flailing out in the ocean and came running out in a speedboat to get us. They tied a rope around our boat and started driving away. Unknowingly, the guy tied a horrible rope knot around our boat and it snapped immediately, and so we were not getting any help from them. Still stranded. This was just about the moment when my brother had decided he had had enough of his seasickness from rocking back and forth motionless in the ocean and just decided to dive off the edge of the boat and swim back to shore himself, leaving my dad and myself stranded out there trying to hold up the sail. Finally, the two guys in the rescue boat came back around and mercifully dragged me and my dad and our little sailboat's failed experiment back into shore. Needless to say, once we got back into shore, my dad was getting shit-talked by the rest of my family for the rest of the vacation in Jamaica. The moral of the story is, sometimes you have to take your parents' stories of their past experiences with a grain of salt, or else you might find yourself drifting away into the Atlantic Ocean.